You're listening to a post-presentation recording from Wildlife Drones' poster presentation at the 2019 Private Land Conservation Conference. Hello, my name is Laura Ting and I'm from Wildlife Drones. Today I'll be presenting some cutting-edge research that was conducted on behalf of my colleague Dr. Debra Saunders. Understanding animal movements is incredibly important for informing better conservation and management practices. But while GPS and satellite tag technology has dramatically advanced over the past few years, they remain too large to be worn by 70% of the world's wildlife. So, if we want to track and understand the movements of small animals, radio tracking is often our only option. But what do you do when conventional methods of radio tracking just don't work? This is the question we found ourselves asking when we wanted to study the movements of swift parrots. Swift parrots are a critically endangered bird that migrates from their breeding grounds in Tasmania to the mainland of Australia each year to feed on winter flowering trees. But because their movements on the mainland are largely dependent on what trees are in flower each year, their movements can be highly variable and difficult to predict. With the swift parrot population being driven closer and closer to extinction each year because of habitat loss and predation, it is essential that we track their movements in order to help identify and protect remaining habitats so we can help secure the survival of this species. However, previous attempts to manually radio track swift parrots on foot using handheld tracking equipment have largely been unsuccessful due to their ability to rapidly travel vast distances. And so, as a result, we wanted to try something new. Over 2 seasons, we used our unique radio tracking drone system to track the movements of 10 radio tagged swift parrots throughout the Riverina region of New South Wales. When the drone was flown, the radio receiver sensor that is mounted to the drone scanned the area for signals from nearby tagged animals and relayed this information to the base station computer, where we could then view their locations on a live satellite map. With this new technology, we were able to gain unique insights into the movements of swift parrots in their winter habitat and highlight the importance of private land conservation in protecting these species. By tracking the movements of these birds, we were able to perform a spatial analysis of their habitat, and as a result, we found that in our first season, 68% of swift parrots were found to occupy private land, with only 25% on Crown land and travelling stock reserves, and only a mere 7% actually being found on public conservation land. Later in our second season, we found that 100% of the birds tracked were only found to occupy private land. For us, this finding highlighted that aspects of private land in the Riverina is supporting important natural values that are not well represented within public conservation reserves. Furthermore, by tracking the movements of the birds, we could also see just how much habitat each individual bird would use. Interestingly, this varied quite greatly between individuals, with some travelling much further from the roost site to forage than others. This enabled us to identify previously unknown feeding and roosting sites used by the swift parrots. Additionally, with the ability to quickly locate the birds with the drone, we could then head out to the sites that they regularly frequented and spend valuable time observing their behaviour. This, as a result, also led us to witness the largest reported congregation of swift parrots, accounting for approximately 10% of the total population. With these new insights, the results gained enabled us to drive real on-the-ground change in better protecting and managing the swift parrot's wintering habitat. As part of the New South Wales Environmental Trust Saving Our Species program, we were then able to justify the importance of conservation on private land. This enabled us to guide the direction of funds to private landholders so they could help restore swift parrot habitat by planting new trees, as well as protect existing old growth forests on their land. In the context of the Riverina region, protecting private land is especially important given that land clearing for agriculture has severely limited and fragmented remaining suitable habitat for the swift parrot. But in saying all of this, we wouldn't have been able to achieve these important outcomes if it wasn't for a drone. With a drone, we were able to track the birds more efficiently than if we had on foot. With our system, we could cover vast distances more rapidly and track up to 100 animals all at the same time. By tracking from the air, we were also able to minimise disturbing the birds while also maximising tag detectability by creating an immediate high point. This project has not only alluded to the great potential for drone technology to enhance our understanding of animal movements, but we hope that such technology will continue to help inform conservation and management practices globally. So, to wrap up, what first started out as a challenge to track a bird that couldn't otherwise be tracked with conventional radio tracking technology turned into us rising to the challenge by developing new technology that has enabled us to radio track small animal movements like never before. If you would like to learn how to radio track the smart way, please get in touch with Wildlife Drones today.